Today we are going to chat antiques. Every 6 months or so, I like to do an antique episode here on my channel because I love collecting for our farmhouse. I am going for a cozy, lived in, almost, I think some people call it English country or English cottage style. Lots of layers, stories to tell all throughout our home. And with that active collecting that I'm doing, I'm constantly bringing in new things, getting rid of things, paring things down, editing, and creating the look that I like. I like to share that here to keep you all updated if that is something that interests you. Decorating my home is very fun, it's entertaining. It also creates a home that I love to spend time in, clean, cook, serve my family, creating this environment around me that is inspiring and beautiful is worth it. First, I'm going to share with you some of my latest finds since my last video like this. I believe it was around 6 months ago. I have a whole playlist where I'm sharing things, and it's fun because you can see my style sort of changing over the years as I decorate this 1860s farmhouse. You can check that out down below or just search Farmhouse on Boone Antique Shopping and get the whole playlist. But I have a few things since the last time I did a video like that I want to show you. The first thing I want to share is a little lamp that I picked up at an antique shop in my area. Lamps seem to be the theme for this particular haul. That's because it's fall, the days are getting shorter, and that means that there's a lot less daylight. In a home like ours, there's so many windows. All throughout the day, I don't really have to turn on lights, but when I do, especially in the fall, early on, like 5 or 6 at night, I don't like to rely on overhead task lighting. I find that very harsh. I mean, there's times when we need it, of course, but whenever it's time to wind down, get the kids in bed, maybe cuddle up on the couch, I like to have lots of lamps throughout the house. It's part of my evening ritual. I turn off all the overhead lights, turn on all the lamps. It just makes it feel so cozy and inviting. So this first one here, I spotted it at an antique shop. I believe maybe it was around $20 or $30. It wasn't a total steal, but also for how beautiful it is, I think that it was definitely worth it. I didn't like the different colors. I decided just to paint it with some leftover paint that I had for my shelf project here behind me. But the lampshade it came with was already really pretty green, and it looks so nice and complementary to the wallpaper that's behind it. So we have this green wallpaper and then the little off-white details on the lamp and then on the sconce and then the green lampshade. At night when it's dark in here, it casts the most beautiful shadow up on the wallpaper and the beautiful detail work in our antique staircase. Also, that particular spot in our home has no lights. So up until now, there hasn't been any lighting in that area at all. So this is also quite functional. Really love candelabra bulbs because they're so warm. So anytime I'm trying to create a lot of light in our house, but I still want it to have a cozy vibe to it, I just turn on everything that's candelabra. So the chandelier in the kitchen, I dim that a bit with the candelabra bulbs. I have a pleated lampshade in the living room that also has a candelabra bulb. And then now I have that one there. It really helps to make everything bright but warm. The next thing I'm gonna share with you, probably my favorite find of this entire last 6 months, is this vegetable dyed 1920s wool rug. This I actually found on Etsy. I wanted something for the entryway of our home. You can see that it already has leaves and dust, but that's okay. It's dark colored. Anytime I have a dark colored rug, they hold up so well here in our home. They vacuum up really clean. I have a couple other ones throughout our home, and they're really easy to maintain because they just don't show the dirt. I had a rug here for the longest time that I actually found for 20 bucks and I love it, but it ended up in the boys' bathroom. I wanted a vintage rug against the white marble tile in their bathroom renovation. I pulled it up there just to like do pictures and my reveal, and then I never took it back down because I liked it. So we were lacking a rug in the entryway, and I decided since I was buying something specifically for the entryway, I would search for something a little bit larger. I wanted to fill out the space with a rug that was as large as possible. I have to accommodate the wood crate that we use all throughout the winter to fill up the wood stove, and then it's a pretty narrow little entryway, so just about as big as it could be was what I was going for there. In the entryway, I also found a little framed piece. I'm trying to remember where I found it. I know wherever it was super cheap, so I was just like, well, maybe I'll replace the painting, maybe I won't. I didn't have a clue where I'd hang it. But the other day, Luke and I had what I called hanging day. We had like 7 different things propped against the wall that we needed to hang up. And this one was just sitting there, and I said, you know what, for now, let's just hang it up here. And maybe I'll move it someday. I actually want to wallpaper the entryway, so I figure it won't be there long, but I actually love it. That is one of my tips for collecting for the house, is you don't always have to know where it goes. I put up things like this little print that I had no clue where it was gonna go. It adds so much character to have these frames all throughout the house. And this one already fits so well, it's probably just gonna stay here. When looking for art, I do try to find things that have unusual shapes. So whether they're oval or they're maybe really rectangular, not as square, or normal dimensions like 8 by 10, I really like. So for this one, it has a very skinny, long, horizontal picture, and I love the way that that looks here in the entryway. Whenever I catch it coming down the steps or in from the living room, it looks really nice framing the kitchen and the French doors that come into the kitchen and the shelves. I love these views throughout my house that I can't really capture here on YouTube, but I really appreciate them here in my own home as I move through my home. The next thing I'm gonna share is another piece of art. This is a painting from my friend Sarah Jo over at Briarton Farm. We got together a few months ago, and she almost always, when I see her, presents me with something. She had this painting, a watercolor of our cow June and her calf Ginger. I thought it was so cute, and it just sat there on the hutch for a month or two. Finally, I found a frame that'll work. Again, is it the most perfect frame ever? Well, it's pretty good, but that is something that I'm really trying to get better about in our home, is just getting things up. Maybe I don't have to overthink where it's gonna go or what frame it's gonna go in. Just get it up and enjoy it, while maybe at some point you'll move it around. So I actually do think we found kind of the perfect frame in the perfect place. It is now in the kitchen to the right of where I hang my aprons and onions or garlic or whatever thing I can hang up there. And now that it's there, I really feel that that place really needed something. So it fills it in perfectly. I love, again, the view of it whenever I come around the corner. It's right in a place that catches my eye, and it fills that space out a little bit better, and it's appropriate because the kitchen is where we use so much of the dairy that comes from June, and so it's a nice little reminder. And I think it's really the perfect place to highlight that beautiful painting from my friend Sarah Jo at Briarton Farm. The next thing I'm gonna share with you is a lamp I found for, I believe, $7 in my son's room. Now, I picked this lamp up with the intention of just using the lampshade. It's a little checkered, pleated lampshade, which you can pay a ton of money for just for a beautiful lampshade. They're hard to find, they're hard to make. I mean, not hard to make, but time consuming, and I actually have some that I'm planning to do. But this was $7, and I could tell that it was vintage. I was planning on just taking the lampshade and using it for a different lamp, but whenever we put it on my son's dresser, I loved how it looked in his little nursery. It's a very plain nursery. I don't have a lot of colors in there. I have a vintage rug and an antique dresser, and that little vintage Winnie the Pooh lamp looks so nice, and it's of course cozy. So now it's part of his bedtime routine, is getting his lamp turned on, and then at some point when he's asleep, I come up and I turn it off. So again, the cozy lighting all throughout the house. I'm just collecting lamps as much as I can right now, and then, you know, if I find better ones for certain spots, over time I'll swap them out. So with that being said, I also found another lamp really cheap on a recent trip to Branson. We went down to Branson, Missouri, if you're not familiar, and my kids and husband went to Sight and Sound Theater, and I took the 2 babies antique shopping because I knew they would not be good at the theater. And I found this little lamp, and I'm honestly still not 100% sure that I love it. I don't really feel that it's the style for my home. If I get the right lamp shade, which I'm thinking A pleated lampshade, if I can DIY one or find one, would be really pretty on it. It might be good. Right now, I am just putting it in the entryway of our home. I don't have it in a good spot at all. It's just sitting in a very messy area where we keep the wood for the wood stove. Very soon, I really hope to do a big redo of the entryway. I have a lot of ideas with wallpaper, with art, but for now, I go turn that lamp on at night with the other ones, and it gives the entryway a cozy little lighting because the overhead light in there is not cozy, so I need something there. This lamp, even though it might not be perfect for this house, is a lovely placeholder, and I still really appreciate the light. Another lamp we found recently at an auction, I believe Luke paid like $2 or $3 for it, is this standing lamp in the living room. Now, before you give me trouble about the lampshade, this is not the one I plan to have on there. It's just one I had laying around as sort of a placeholder. So I need to source the perfect lampshade for it. I love the way that this lamp looks. It's the only standing lamp in this room. The other ones are table lamps, so I like the way that that looks there. Another thing Luke grabbed from that auction is this bowl. It was $2, and I love collecting bowls like this. I actually just recently gifted to someone who's moving into a new house my stainless bowls because I have so many beautiful crock bowls and I'm collecting them that I wonder why I even keep not as beautiful bowls. Sometimes in our homes, I'm definitely guilty of this, we keep things just because we've always had them without thinking, okay, is this really serving me the best? And for me, having a drawer full of pretty bowls and a pantry full of pretty bowls that can serve as fruit and vegetable bowls and also mixing bowls really works for me to have something that serves two purposes, beauty and function. And so I'm kind of cleaning things out because I've had drawers that are so full of these other types of bowls that I can't even fit in some of the other tools in my kitchen that I need. And so now I'm kind of moving in that direction, and this little bowl was like $2 at an auction, and I love the little details on it. It looks so pretty in the pantry. Now the next thing I'm sharing with you is not new. It's the same rug I've had under our kitchen table for a really long time, but I wanted to share with you a way that we are maintaining it. It was at the point where I'm like, okay, we're getting rid of this thing. It's had too many cups of milk spilled on it, too many sweet potatoes and Play-Doh rubbed into it. But the other day, Luke and I took the time to power wash it, and it looks amazing yet again. Now, I am planning to get a mat from VMat Home like I have on the porch and in the mud room. They're absolutely beautiful. But we're getting a little bit more life out of this rug by power washing it and laying it out in the sun for 2 days. It now feels nice in the kitchen again. I was almost thinking it was too far gone. I think if I were to source another antique or vintage rug for our kitchen, I would do something like that is in the entryway or in the boys' bathroom. Those dark colors I think would work a lot better, but I'm still trying to hold on to this one because I love how cozy it looks and the colors in here. And so I got a little bit more life out of it before I switch over to something a little bit more user-friendly, like a vinyl mat. Right, well, I hope that I've given you some antique shopping inspiration. Again, if you like videos like this, check out the antique shopping playlist. I believe I called it Farmhouse Antique Shopping or Farmhouse Antique Hauls, down in the description box below, and check out all of the finds over the years that have made the decor in this home come together, tell a story, and get more layered and collected with each passing year. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for stopping by our farmhouse.